In this video, I'm going to show you how to install R and all the required packages to run the data we generated with Annotator on Windows. So first of all, I'm going to download R. So I'm going to open Edge and then look for download R for Windows. Then you should get a link that's gonna give you the latest version of R for Windows. So then you can just click on this download, and it's gonna download an executable that then you just need to run to install R on your computer. So I'm gonna just speed up the video so you don't have to wait for the entire time to download the file. Alright, now it's downloaded, so I can just launch the executable. And then there's nothing fancy here. We can just follow the steps and do everything as as required. And just the default one, and that's gonna be fine. And I don't want any desktop anything. I'm just go up to the end, and now it's done. It's installing R. So again, I'm going to speed up the video. All right, it's finished. So now we're gonna install another software which is called Rtools, which is required to install Devtools that we're gonna use to install Finoptar, which is the main R package we're going to use to analyze the data. So I'm going to look for it. So if I try to find download Rtools, then you should get a link like this directly, and you can go there. And then, so depending on your architecture, so it's most probably going to be a 64-bit, so you can just download this executable. And again, I'm going to speed up so you don't have to wait for everything to be done. All right, it's done. So now I'm going to open this executable and install Rtools. Again, just follow the steps. We don't want to do it in any different way. The default one is going to be fine. So I'm just installing it. And again, I'm going to speed up the video. All right, now it's over. So now we have installed both R and Rtools. So the next steps, first one is to install the Ir Kernel to be able to run R in a Jupyter notebook. And then we'll install Finoptar, which is the main package we're going to use to process the data. And finally, we'll just install another package that we'll need for running the codes. But first, we want to install Ir Kernel so we can use R in a Jupyter notebook. And to make sure that R is able to locate where the Jupyter notebook was installed, we're going to first go back to our virtual environment and activate it. And then we'll run R from that location. So I'm going to open a command prompt. And the thing now is that sometimes you need to run R as an administrator to be able to install the packages. I'm not really familiar with Windows, and I don't know exactly why it's the case, but when you do it, it works. And as we're gonna start R from the command prompt, we need to do it from the beginning. So here I'm gonna right click and then hit run as administrator. And then asking me if I really want to run it as an administrator, I'm gonna just say yes. All right. So now the first thing I'm gonna do is to activate my virtual environment. So I'm gonna go in my folder, which is in work, and now activate it. So if I do /, the name of the virtual environment, dlr, then scripts, and then activate. I activated my virtual environment. And now, now the system can see the Jupyter notebook that was installed in this virtual environment. So I'm going to run R from there. So to do it simply, I'm going to open a file explorer. I'm going to go to the location of the R installation. So if you did it the default way, it's going to be in program files, and then here you find your R. You have the version 4.0.3. And when we are in the R folder, we're going to go in bin, and as you can see here, you have two executable files. And this one, the R, is to run R in a command prompt. So I'm going to do shift and right click. So I can copy as path. And now I'm going to go to my command prompt. And I'm going to paste it. So you can do Control V, or you can do a right click, and that's going to paste the executable file. So here, and if I hit enter, now, as you can see, I'm in R. So you see R version 4.0.3. It's the introduction of R, and then I'm running R in a command prompt. So now I can install the packages that are required, and particularly the package to run R in a Jupyter notebook. My system is going to see the Jupyter notebook because I am in a folder where the virtual environment where the Jupyter notebook was installed is. So I'm going to first install the package that is required to run R as in a Jupyter notebook. So we use the command install packages, and then we're going to type in the name of the package, which is IR, capital letters, and then kernel within quotes. And then you can hit enter. And when you use the command install packages in R, then the system asks you which mirrors you want to use to install it. So the first one, cloud, is perfect. You can just say OK. And now it's going to install it. And that's pretty quick to do. And then I'm going to specify a comment. So I'm going to use a comment. So let me just type in. It's going to be easier. So Ir Kernel. So that's the package we just installed. And then install spec, and then user equal false. So this is just to allow a Jupyter notebook to run R, this version of R. And you see it's been installed. So it's saying removing existing because I did it before, but you know what is important is that it's installed, and now I'm going to be able to run R in a Jupyter notebook. So the next step is that we're going to install the packages we need to analyze the data. So first we're going to install. So we're going to use install packages again to install Devtools, which is required to actually install Finaptar, which is what we are interested in. So I'm going to install Devtools. It's installed. So Devtools is installed. Now we're gonna actually install the package of interest. So I'm gonna use the Devtools command, and it uses the code that is on GitHub. So it's install _ GitHub, and then Akoya Finaptar. Finaptar has been developed by people that work. So it wasn't Akoya at the time, but it's been acquired by Akoya since. So that's why it's part of the Akoya Bio. Sorry, forget that. So Akoya Bio, and then / Finaptar between quotes. I'm gonna hit enter. And okay, so here I'm just going to do something. So you shouldn't have to do, but I already installed it. So that's why it's telling me. So you shouldn't have to do this. Just without the force equal to is going to work, but I'm going to do it so you can see the install. And now it's downloading all the codes from the GitHub repository, and then it's going to install it. So you're going to see it does quite some packages to install, so it's going to take some time, so I'm going to speed up the video now. All right, now it's down, so I'm going to install the last package that we're going to need. So it's another R package that we're going to use to analyze data. So again, install packages, and its name ggpubr. So always between quotes or double quotes, that works as well. And it's gonna install it. And now I'm down. So I'm gonna quit R, which you can do by with this command, q and parenthesis. It asks you if you want to save the workspace image. There's nothing to save here, so I'm just gonna say no. And now I'm back in my command prompt with my virtual environment that is activated. So I'm just gonna test that R was well installed for Jupyter Notebook. And I'm gonna show you how you can check that. I'm gonna start Jupyter Notebook. And I'm gonna go to the GitHub folder, all right? And in codes, you have something called immune profiling analysis. And here we have two Jupyter notebooks. So this one is a Python Jupyter notebook, and this one is an R Jupyter notebook. So I'm gonna open this, and now you should have an R icon on top of it. So that tells you that you installed R correctly to be used in the Jupyter notebook.